The world shrinks to a circle of suffocating darkness. Dust motes dance in a single, desperate beam of light. A tiny, furry body presses forward, paws scrabbling on the cold, corrugated metal of a narrow pipe. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth and rust. Outside, the thunder of heavy machinery grinds to a halt, replaced by an anxious silence. A string, a lifeline, is tied to a small collar, trailing back into the oppressive gloom. Every inch forward is a struggle against the unknown, a journey into a blackness that seems to have no end. This is not a battlefield for men, but a mission for something impossibly small, impossibly brave. We pull back from this tense moment, back through time, to the sweltering heat of the New Guinea jungle. The air is a living thing, thick and wet, buzzing with insects. Sunlight struggles to pierce the dense, triple canopy roof, dappling the muddy ground in shifting patterns of light and shadow. A GI, his face caked with grime and exhaustion, leans on his rifle. His boot nudges something in the bottom of an abandoned foxhole. He kneels, curiosity cutting through his fatigue, and parts the tangled vegetation. Two dark eyes, wide with fear, stare back at him from a matted ball of fur. It's a dog, a Yorkshire Terrier, impossibly out of place in this brutal wilderness. She weighs no more than 4 pounds, a fragile spark of life discovered amidst the machinery of death. The soldier gently scoops her up, her tiny frame trembling in his calloused hands. He shares a piece of his sea ration, and a bond is forged in the heart of the Pacific War. He names her Smoky. She becomes a fixture in the camp, a tiny mascot against the vast, indifferent backdrop of global conflict. She sleeps in his tent, curled inside the dome of his helmet. She learns to understand the rhythms of war, the sudden stillness before an attack, the distant crump of artillery. She is a sliver of home, a reminder of a world beyond the mud and the fear. The high-pitched wail of a siren claws at the humid air. Men scatter like insects, diving for the red earth trenches. The soldier cradles Smoky against his chest, shielding her with his own body as the ground heaves. The sky is torn apart by the scream of diving Japanese bombers. Anti-aircraft guns answer with rhythmic, angry barks, their tracers painting streaks of red against the darkening twilight. Dirt and shrapnel rain down, peppering the sandbags. Through it all, the tiny dog remains silent, pressed against the frantic beat of the soldier's heart. This is the first of 150 air raids she will endure, a trial by fire for a creature that should be sleeping on a pillow. The scene shifts. We are inside the cavernous belly of a C-47 transport plane, the drone of its twin engines a constant, vibrating roar. Below, the vast emerald green of the jungle stretches to the horizon, broken by the silver ribbons of rivers. The soldier checks the straps on his parachute, his face a mask of grim determination. Tucked securely inside a modified pack on his chest is Smoky, wearing a miniature, custom-made parachute of her own. The green light flashes. The jumpmaster shouts. The soldier leaps into the void, a man and his 4-pound dog tumbling through the sky, descending together into another corner of the war. The very elements conspire against them. A typhoon descends upon the islands, a monstrous, swirling force of nature. Palm trees bend sideways, their fronds shredded by a wind that sounds like a freight train. Rain falls not in drops, but in solid, horizontal sheets, turning the camp into a churning river of mud. Tents are ripped from their moorings and sent cartwheeling into the storm. In a hastily reinforced bunker, the soldier holds Smoky, her wet fur slicked against her shivering body, as the world outside is torn apart. She survives this too, a testament to a resilience that defies her size. Now we find ourselves at a captured airfield, a critical strategic asset in the Allied push. The runway is a scar of packed earth and gravel, bustling with activity. Engineers are working frantically, their faces slick with sweat under the punishing sun. They need to run communications wire from the operations center to 3 separate squadrons dispersed around the field. But a massive taxiway, 70 feet wide, stands in their way. The only path is through a narrow culvert buried beneath it, a pipe just 8 inches in diameter, clogged with sand and debris. From months of neglect, the commanding officer points at the runway, his expression strained. To dig a trench would mean tearing up the airstrip, a job that would take 3 days and a full construction crew. 3 days with men and equipment fully exposed on the open tarmac. 3 days as sitting ducks for enemy bombers that strafe the field with chilling regularity. The risk is too high. The delay is unacceptable. Lives hang in the balance, a decision caught between engineering and enemy fire. The soldier who found Smoky steps forward. He looks from the officer's worried face to the dark, uninviting mouth of the culvert. He then glances down at the little dog sitting patiently at his feet. An idea, desperate and brilliant, takes hold. He explains his plan. The officers exchange skeptical looks. A dog? Run a wire through a 70-foot pipe? It seems impossible, a fool's hope in a place where hope is a ration commodity. But with no other options, they agree. The lives of their men depend on it. And so we return to that moment of suffocating darkness. The soldier ties a kite string to Smoky's collar, the first, lightweight thread that will be used to pull the heavier wires through. He kneels at one end of the culvert, his face etched with a mixture of hope and fear. He coaxes her, his voice a low, encouraging murmur. She hesitates, sniffing at the dark opening. On the other side of the 70-foot runway, another soldier gets down on his belly, peering into the opposite end of the pipe, calling her name over and over. Smoky takes a tentative step, then another, and disappears into the blackness. Inside the pipe, her world is a tube of corrugated steel. Her paws slip on the loose sand. The air is stale and close. Every sound is magnified, the scuff of her paws, her own panting breath. The distant voice of the soldier at the far end is her only guide, a beacon in the terrifying dark. She pushes on, her tiny heart pounding, dragging the vital string behind her. The seconds stretch into an eternity for the men waiting outside. They stare at the empty hole, their work stopped, their breath held. Suddenly, a small, dusty head emerges from the far end of the pipe, blinking in the bright sunlight. It's Smoky. A cheer erupts from the gathered engineers. She has done it. The soldier scoops her up, burying his face in her fur, relief washing over him. The kite string is quickly attached to stronger cords and then to the thick, rubber-coated communications wire. The critical lines are pulled through the culvert in minutes, not days. The construction crews are never exposed. The threat of the bombers is averted. The airfield becomes fully operational ahead of schedule. Lives are saved not by a platoon of soldiers or a piece of heavy machinery, but by the courage of a 4-pound Yorkshire Terrier. Her story doesn't end there. In the aftermath of battle, the camera pans across the sterile, quiet rows of a field hospital. Soldiers lie in their cots, their eyes vacant, staring at the canvas ceiling. They bear the visible and invisible wounds of combat. The air smells of antiseptic and sorrow. Into this world of pain walks the soldier, with Smoky trotting faithfully at his side. He places her on the bed of a wounded man, a young Marine with heavily bandaged arms. The soldier's 1,000-yard stare softens. A flicker of life returns to his eyes. He manages a weak smile as Smoky licks his chin. She moves from bed to bed, a tiny 4-pound angel of mercy. She curls up next to men recovering from surgery, offering a silent, warm comfort that no medicine can provide. She becomes a living prescription, a pioneer of animal-assisted therapy long before the term existed. In the Pacific, amidst the wreckage of World War II, she is the first therapy dog, mending spirits as surely as the medics mended bodies. Her courage in the culvert saved lives, but her compassion in the hospital saved souls. She was more than a mascot, more than a hero. She was a 4-pound reminder that even in the darkest of times, a little bit of love and a whole lot of courage can change the world. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.